Oh snap, we're back with the Marvel Snap video in a bit of a different setting. As you guys can see, I have changed my camera and I'm still figuring out the proper settings for it. Like, I understand it's still a little bit blurry and it shouldn't be like that. I need to figure things out still. I'm also going to be working on some cool lighting that I've got. Big shout outs to Sean from S Tier, like the CEO of S Tier essentially. Like, he's my manager. You know, I do actually have a manager who helps me, you know, with sponsorships and stuff, so I can actually make a living out of content creation as a career. And, you know, he's really helped me out here. He's got me a Sony A6000, which is a really powerful camera. So I no longer have a webcam, and I got a bunch of like lights and stuff that I'm still trying to set up. You see all that stuff in the background. It's just like really messy there. And this video is pretty much improvised because the balance patch was delayed. So we didn't really know when it was going to be out, and it came out today at essentially 3 hours before recording this video, because I didn't notice it at the very moment that it was released because it was in the Discord. But we have a balance patch to discuss, and I want to make a video talking about that. So it kind of caught me in the middle of like me spending my day like setting this up and stuff. But hopefully, fun fact, I literally just recorded this video and I had to record it again because when I clicked record, I didn't do a test record, and the camera was also picking up the audio, so it was like this double audio echo bullshit going on. So screw it, we'll do it again. I'm totally not mad. As in order to check the balance patch, because you're wondering how, you just click on this newspaper on the top left corner and you click on patch notes right here, and it's gonna open it right for you, and we see it right here, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, we got the cosmetic shop, a new section in the shop that is going to allow you to buy emotes. We can check them right here. And we can see that they are severely overpriced. Like, oh my God, 2,200 tokens for an emote. I personally think that's shameless. I don't think there's any reason for these to be as expensive as they are. But hey, if you really want them, you know, spend like literally like 30 bucks on it. Like, what the fuck, man? Okay, I'm gonna stop talking. That kind of feels like, come on, you 30 bucks for an emo. Like, in what universe is that acceptable? All right, at least you get my honest opinion on that. Yeah, that's awful. Like, that is disrespectful how expensive that is, you know, and I'm just gonna be honest about that. But hey, if you're loaded and you don't care about money, then awesome, you got all these cool ass emotes to get, and it's gonna be amazing for you. We got the bonus booster section. It has been renamed, and everything works the same as before, except you can't wait for it. Bonus booster! Oh my God! Oh wow! Second this! Oh wow! This is incredible. I'm just gonna skip this shit, man. New feature: card location reaction wheel. I'll have to check this out in game. I haven't actually checked it out yet, but it looks neat. Good to point out, we got a set of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 new audio and visual effects for cards and locations. We got 2 locations here and 7 cards. Leader, Legion, Mirage, Hazmat, Patriot, Agent Coulson, the Hood, and Demon all have new visual and audio effects. I cannot wait to see the Legion one. I can't wait to see the Leader one. I can't wait to see the Hazmat one. I'm also like really excited. I'm excited about all of them, to be honest. And then Triskelion, which I hate this location, and the Wakandan Throne Room also have different effects as well. So I'll be looking forward to that as well. But this video is going to be about mainly this, the balance updates. We got an ODUP patch, and we got to dive down. Not that many changes, but oh my God, these changes are crazy. Like, they are super impactful on the meta. And a lot of them are going to be applauded by many, many Marvel Snap players out there. It's pretty wild what they've done, man. Alioth got completely redesigned. Alioth used to be 6 energy, 2 power. Now he's 6 energy, 8 power. You're like, wow, they buffed Alioth. You idiot. No, they murdered him. Alioth went from 6'2 to 6'8 on reveal, removed the text from all unrevealed enemy cards here. Their reasoning is, since release, Alioth has been an important but polarizing card in the Snap metagame. I would say Alioth has been a lazy design, and the consequences of that have ever since happened. English. I don't like Alioth design. I think a good example of cards, tech cards that benefit from you being ahead, are the likes of Cosmo and Juggernaut, because there's actually interaction and there's more than just like a I win or I lose switch with them, essentially. And I think Alioth was just kind of like a more lazy version of that. you know, I played the card quite a bit myself because I do enjoy playing tempo decks. Now I'm gonna have to consider. I mean, I think it's still. I'm still gonna test it in my tempo deck. Honestly, like the card is not absolutely dead. 8 power is a respectable power. What I mean by this is 8 power is a respectable power on a card that has a very game warping effect. How impactful is essentially turning the location into the deep space going to be? I think, especially against like reactive decks like Sarah decks, this effect is going to be murderous because all of a sudden you're going to be able to shut down that lane from stuff like Shang-Chi and stuff, but also like add 8 points to it. That's no joke. Like, I think this card may still be playable, but I can't say right now for sure. Like, I have to test it. Until I test it, I can't really give my proper input on ALIOTH, but definitely not going to be what the old card was. I think everybody's going to applaud this change, and for a lot of people, if this card is no longer playable, they'll just be like, good riddance. You know, like it's one of those cards that not that many people will miss, except those who love to spam it. So maybe I'm not wording it that correctly. Like maybe there's a lot of ALIOTH lovers. They just don't talk much online, but they love the card, and I'm pretty sure there's gonna be some rage about that. But most sane people will be happy about this change, and we'll see where it leads to. I do want to try out the card now that it's not so like. Now, maybe my chat will finally stop dying of cringe every time I play ALIOTH. I play a lot of ALIOTH, so, you know, just because I like tempo decks, okay? I have to play ALIOTH. Like, don't judge me. But now I can be edgy and cool by doing so, and that makes me very excited. So we'll see. I can't really say how bad this will be, if it will be playable. Like, I need to mess around with the new concept, but I see potential in it. Zabu is... yeah, Zabu is dead. Like, Zabu got absolutely massacred. This is the Santino, basically, of Marvel Snap. Like, this guy just got completely loaded on. You can't even recognize him anymore. 2/2 ongoing, going for 2/3 with an on-reveal effect now. Until the end of the next turn, your 4-cost cards cost 1 less. This is essentially means that Zabu is now only good to develop a 4-drop on turn 3 for 3 energy. And for that massive downgrade to the card, it will gain 1 more power. So make no mistake, this is a massive nerf that fundamentally buries the card 6 feet under. And the developers are aware of that as well, right? But there's a very good explanation here. I've already read this in the prior recording before having to do it all again, so bear with me. All right, let's do it again. We're aware that Zabu is taking a huge hit here, but here's out. In the last year, the game has shifted to revolve more and more around Zabu's interaction with 4-cost cards and their matchups. This is true. Right now, Zabu is probably at an all-time low, but the impact is still very real, and 4-cost cards that don't have strong synergy with Zabu are at a disadvantage. This is also correct. We've been analyzing the data to better understand what this has done to the metagame, and why this has done exactly what this has done to the metagame English, and what we might want to adjust. But Zabu is really clouding those measures. So we decided to do something unusual here and temporarily rework this card into a state that we believe is weak enough to shift the way 4-costs perform. Other way to express this is we have massacred him in order to see how the 4-cost card pool evolves and goes on from there, right? Because it is true that Zabu has been very warping and has really exacerbated the gap between 3 and 4 costs in regards to power output, right? So the thing is, Zabu enables a lot of very cool decks as well. So definitely a nerf that's going to hurt Marvel Snap initially, I think. But I also believe that it's very important to, if there are cards that are inherently problematic for the design of future cards, then just get rid of them. Just change them, find a new purpose for them, and move on. And eventually, this may end up being a good thing, right? But right now, Zabu is just completely eliminated from the meta. A meta that he wasn't really particularly prevalent in. But I can see the reasoning behind this. I think this may end up very well being a good change, and it will make the game overall healthier in the near future. And I am eager to see where this takes us and what future 4-drops we will be seeing from Marvel Snap. But as of now, honestly, don't play Zabu. Card is garbage, and just Jesus Christ. I mean, it's not literally unplayable, but oh my Deus. It's rough. Sandman got a change that I'm a big fan of. A change that actually mirrors Lady Deathstrike, which is the change that I'm most excited about from this balance patch. But we're going to dive into that very shortly. First of all, let's talk a little bit about Sandman. Sandman goes from having an ongoing effect. We're still recording, right? Because I don't want to have to record this for a third time. Okay, good. We ongoing. Players can only play one card a turn. And then the new one is +3 power. On reveal, players can only play one card next turn. So Sandman has gone from a card that you ram into with an Unga Bunga ramp Sandman deck, which I think is about as interesting as a dried potato. Like I just really don't see it. I've never seen it. I don't think they even admit that if Sandman is too popular, Snap is just a less fun game, because a game in which you can play only one card per turn in a game that already only has 6 turns, like that's just really reducing player agency, and ultimately, like, it is stripping the fun out of Marvel Snap, right? It's cool to be able to combine cards. Sandman does give you an answer for stuff like Sarah decks. I think Sandman now is going to fill the role of a tech card, a card that can fit, like Legion, a card that can fit a deck because of a specific curve. It has a slot for a 5-drop that can allow you to gain the upper hand against more reactive decks, or decks that are trying to dump and play multiple cards, like bounce decks, Sarah decks. This card can be an excellent tech against them. And having 7 power is that stat line that's like the bare minimum for a 5-drop to actually, you know, be relevant in regards to power output, right? Obviously, it's very low for a 5-drop. You can get easily like 12 points out of a 5-drop, maybe even more if it's something like a Devil Dinosaur, but you can really go up there, right? But we're sacrificing a lot of those stats for such a really strong effect, and 7 points is still good enough to allow you to push and solidify a location. You know, it is definitely a number that's going to be easier to catch up against, but it does carry presence. And it's really important. I think it's that minimum number that a 5 energy play can have while being relatively, you know, playable, unless the effect is extremely powerful, like Sarah, for example. But I really like this change. I think this version of Sandman is fundamentally healthier for the game, and it's going to just be really neat. I'm going to be experimenting with it. Not necessarily like building a deck around Sandman, but more so like building a deck that can incorporate Sandman. And I think there's quite a few of those that can happen, so I'm eager to check it out. But a card that I'm really, like, the most exciting change in this patch is about a card that I don't have. But now I'm unpinning a card that I wanted to go for. I have 3,000 tokens, and oh boy, the moment she appears, let me actually check right now. Like, is she there? Okay, I gotta wait 33 minutes. I had Havoc pinned, because it's a card that I really want to mess with. But I am going to prioritize Lady Deathstrike, because, oh my Deus, she is just amazing. And I just realized that we've been, I wanted to change the background to this. Hopefully all this music running in the background hasn't been like overwhelming or annoying, because it's been going on for 13 minutes. God. Please don't tell me I ruined the video again. I think it's gonna be fine. All right, so Lady Deathstrike. Lady Deathstrike went from a 5/4 to a 5/7. Massive. In case you're wondering, massive buff to this card. You think destroy each card here with less power than this. This essentially reads the same as this. Destroy each card here with 3 or less power. The difference is the destruction effect is no longer tied to Lady Deathstrike. In exchange for that, they've given the card +3 power. +3 power to like any card, to like a 5-drop is a crazy buff. People are acting like this is not like a nuts buff to the, like I've had somebody on Twitter tell me this is barely a change to the card. Like, what? Whoa, in what world is this barely a change? +3 power is nuts. This card can go down on turn 5, knock out Jeff, Mobius, literally most 2-drops, a lot of 3-drops, especially engine-based ones like Mobius that can be very disruptive. Like, there's just so much you can do. If you kill one of these units, like, it has 3 power, like, we're looking at 10 power, which is already decent for a 5 energy play. You kill another one, 13, plus the utility of having removed those cards from the board as well. Like, if it's a Jeff, like, it's a really big deal to be able to snipe down a Jeff. Like, Jeff is so popular, and it's so much more prevalent than something like Nightcrawler. I would argue not necessarily because of its ability to go anywhere, but because it doesn't die to Killmonger as well. Like, that's a big deal. You can't just snipe him with a Killmonger, but this card can. And that's really relevant, right? Like, the moment she becomes prevalent, then people have to really think about incorporating 2 energy, 3 power cards, which are very numerous within the card pool, right? This card is really cool, and I think it's going to be strong. How strong, we will see. I expect big things out of Lady Deathstrike. I expect her to have an impact on this metagame, because 7 power is, like we mentioned with Sandman, it's that limit, right? But she's adding more power onto that, and in an effect that actually, unlike USA Agent, that has an effect that interacts, with board, and especially like late game cards, but it's a 2-drop. This is actually a late game card. So by the point where you want to play this, the board has been developed, and there will be a location where Lady Strike goes down, and she just nets you like 13 points, and removes stuff like, maybe, like, it's not the same as just like saying, let's say she goes down and she kills a Jeff. It's like, okay, 10 points for me. It's not just that, it's more. It's 10 points plus you take away their 3 power that could go anywhere. You limit their plays. It's just, and there's a lot of decks that this card can hit, like Wong. This card can just destroy the shit out of Wong, and any sort of like greedy setup, like Tribunal decks. There's so much. Tribunal decks, just drop this and just auto win. Like, this card was already a great tech against Tribunal, but now it's actually playable in other matchups, and that's gonna, like, this card is gonna hit. If this card gets popular, Living Tribunal is just gonna get smoked, man. It's gonna get pushed out of the meta, and honestly, that'll create a shift that I wouldn't mind. And I just think this card, people are sleeping on it. I don't know what the general consensus is, but from what I've seen in like the first reactions and stuff from my own Twitter feed, again, I'm not mentioning other content creators, but people, people just popped in my feed, right? Like or people who replied to me more than anything. Like, I've seen like people really downplay this effect and this change, this buff, and it's just wild. Like, this is a legit card. This is going to be a legit card, and you can quote me on this. It's gonna be Cannonball all over again. Like, I'm just like screaming how the card is great, and then everybody says it's trash, but then like a week or 2 weeks later, like, everybody's like playing it. Cocky much? Humility is my greatest answer. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, and Lady Deathstrike becomes like decent at best. But I expect big things from her, and I'm really excited for this change, because it just makes her more consistent. It's very, very relevant. Strong Guy, also very, very strong buff, because pun intended. Because now he works with Apocalypse. Now you can just freely incorporate Strong Guy. I would argue that you would put Strong Guy in discard mid-range decks that don't run Helicarrier. I think that would be more ideal. But basically, now you can combine Strong Guy with Apocalypse, which means Strong Guy fits regular discard mid-range decks, which is going to be a fantastic addition to those decks, because 9 power for 3 energy, very nice. Very, very nice. So, yeah. Not much more to say about him, just the fact that now he works with Apocalypse, and that's going to be a really strong addition to discard decks. And then Shadow King is just a text update, like, it still does the same thing, and the same thing about Pixie. It's just like clarification. So these two aren't really changes. They just, modified the text. And then a bunch of bug fixes right here. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the patch right there. Lady Deathstrike is what I'm personally excited the most about, because it's a buff. Buffs are more exciting than nerfs, because you can actually mess around. You can try the card, right? And I will be trying out Sandman too, and I definitely will be venturing, into some tempo with the new ALIOTH. Zabu, I'm just gonna put in the bench. I don't really need to play him to reach that conclusion. But, new ALIOTH, new Sandman, new Lady Deathstrike, and of course the new Strong Guy. Doesn't seem like a patch in which a lot is going on, but the changes are very significant. Even though they're few, they're very important. And I think it's a very exciting patch because of that. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What do you believe? Lady Deathstrike, like, do you think she'll end up being good? Do you think she'll be all right? You think I'm just crazy and completely off the mark here? Let me know. Let me know what you think. And we can discuss and all that stuff. And yeah, I'm going to continue to, work on this camera setting and stuff. How's the visual quality? Like, give me your like first impressions. I feel like it could be like sharper, but I'm gonna mess with the settings a little bit and see if I can figure it out. But yeah, love you. Have a soul day. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for daily Marvel Snap content. Hope you enjoy the video, or you enjoyed the video, English. I'll see you guys tomorrow.